Hi, I'm Heather from EasyHealthyBread.com, and in this week's episode we're going to make a 100% whole wheat roll recipe. I designed this recipe myself to be super light and fluffy and to replace those white dinner rolls you're used to. So let's get started. We're going to start with 1 cup of warm water. Just run your tap as warm as it will go, and that's plenty warm. Then we're going to measure out 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. Buttermilk acts as a softener in this bread, and it's what makes it delicious and soft. And without a dairy type of softener, your rolls will be kind of crusty and hard. So 3/4 of a cup, and we're just going to add it right in the bowl. Next we're going to add 2 tablespoons of honey, which, similar to any dairy, just makes the rolls softer. And obviously gives them a little sweetness. And honey is really good for you. It's antibacterial, and so it's really good all the time. Just put it right in. You can add a little bit more if you like your bread sweeter, but 2 tablespoons is plenty. So then we're going to add the yeast. So we're doing 1 tablespoon of yeast. You can use instant or active dry, doesn't matter in this case. Do that. And then we're going to add the salt. Like I've said in I think almost every other episode, you can not add the salt if you're trying to watch sodium. It's purely taste. It doesn't affect how the bread turns out. So we're going to add 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt. So I'm just going to underfill a teaspoon. So that should be plenty. I'm going to mix this. So I just mix the liquids and the yeast to get it incorporated in there, and then we can start adding the flour. So we're going to add 3 cups of flour. Scoop and sweep method, like I mentioned before. Just scoop it out of your container. So, once you've got your 3 cups in there, we're going to need to add our Vital Wheat gluten, and that is what is going to keep this bread nice and fluffy and help it rise and develop that gluten. So we're going to do 1/4 cup of the Vital Wheat gluten. You can see I use Bob's Red Mill. You can get that in almost any grocery store. So 1/4 cup, and it goes. So we're just going to mix this until it's combined, and once it's been combined, you can either leave it in your Tupperware or leave it in your mixer bowl on your counter, or you can move it into a Tupperware right away and leave it on your counter for 2 to 2.5 hours. Once it starts to get flat on the top, you can either move it into your fridge or you can use it right away. So I'm going to mix this up and move it into my Tupperware, and I'll come back in about 2.5 hours and we'll start shaping those rolls. Okay, we're back. So the dough that we mixed earlier has been sitting out on my counter for about 2 hours. After we mixed it, I moved it into a Tupperware. You can see it's been sitting for a little while. You can see all the air holes in here, and we're going to start making some rolls. So tonight, I'm not going to need a ton of rolls for my dinner. So just to show you kind of the versatility of a good loaf pan, I'm actually going to make the rolls in the loaf pan, which is pretty awesome. So you're going to want to start by taking a little bit of oil and pouring maybe like a nickel size amount into your hand. And then just rub it around. You're going to want to do this instead of flouring your hands. It's going to make your life so much easier. So I haven't greased my pan because my pan is awesome. It's a USA pan and I've never needed to grease them. So I just skipped that step. If you're using any other kind of pan, definitely grease it. So I'm going to take a small amount of dough. Keep in mind they will rise a little bit in your fridge or when you cook them. So I took this much and I'm just going to shape it by taking the top and pulling it around and rotating it and doing that all the way around until it's a nice ball. And you can see all the ends on the bottom like that, and we're just going to pop it right in the pan. So you can see where I put it in the pan, there's a little bit of room right here. That's room for the rolls to expand. So we're going to take another piece of bread. We're just going to quickly shape it like this until it's a smooth ball. The surface is nice and smooth on the top, like that. And we're just going to put it, I'd say, just a little bit away from the other. So you can see I have them a little bit apart because they're going to rise when we let them sit here. And so that gives them some room so they're not completely slammed together. They are going to end up being together. They're going to bake together in one piece when they go in the oven. But that's what keeps them soft, so you can just pull them apart. We've all seen those rolls before where they're baked in a sheet pan and they're all stuck together and then you just pull them apart. That's what this is. So we're going to do another. So we have 3, and then we're going to do 3 more next to it. So just try and pull out about the same amount every time so they're the same size. If you're not good at estimating, like this one's a little small, so I'm just going to add a little bit to it. But if you're not good at estimating or don't feel comfortable doing that, you can just get out your kitchen scale and weigh them so they're each the same weight, and that would work also. So you can see I added some and then I just like reshaped it, and yeah, nice and good right there. So we're going to put this one right here. And we just have 2 more to do. So, like I said, once you get good at the shaping method, it's really easy and simple, and it's really fast. It only takes a few seconds each time. So I'm going a little slow so you guys can see the details. So there's that guy. See, get towards the end here, it's starting to stick a little more to my hands. If that happens to you, or you're making a big batch, you could make this in an 8x8 pan, like the type of pan you would use for brownies, or even a big jelly roll pan. Then you just want to use the size pan for however many you need that day or that evening. You can re-grease your hands. You might need to do that because it's starting to stick for me, but this is my last one. So I'm putting this last one in. You can see, they're going to slip a little bit when I do this, but you can see just in like that, and they're going to rise a little bit together when I leave them out on the counter, and then they're going to bake and they're going to get even bigger. So I'm going to leave this pan out in a non-drafty place preferably. If you don't have a place like that, you can stick this just in your microwave, no heat, or you can put it in the oven with like just the oven light on, something like that, for about 2 hours. And I'll show you what they look like before we put them in, and then we're going to bake them. So I'll catch you back when these are done. So we're back. I've taken the bread out of the oven. When you take it out of the oven, you want to leave it in the pan that you baked it in for 10 minutes. Take it out and put it on a wire rack for 10 minutes. And then it's ready to be broken apart. So you can see, kind of have the lines of the little balls you put in, and it'll break apart just along there. Perfect, right? Nice little loaf there. And What's awesome about this bread is that it's just so fluffy. I mean, you can see that it's nice and light and airy. We'll cut some open here. And you can just see that it is got an awesome texture, super light, and just not what you're expecting for a whole wheat bread. I mean, it can be as light and fluffy as a buttermilk white bread loaf that you'd get at a diner or that your grandmother made. It can be as delicious. And that's why I designed this recipe, so you know that you can eat something awesome and have it be healthy as well. So this has been Heather from EasyHealthyBread.com. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching.